Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I have been itching to work on this project for quite a while now, and that is a lino cut print. I haven't worked with lino that much in the past, but I do know enough of it to know that I enjoy it, and I had this idea for quite a while, so I figured it was the best moment to get to it. I had the idea of this design based on something that I had seen online, mainly the 4 C's. The 4 C's are create, consume, cavort, commune, and they stand for a kind of balanced way of living so that your creativity and your life is in this optimal state. Each verb has a way of acting or kind of set criteria. For instance, create, anything that falls under the act of creating with your own hands or otherwise exercising your artistic side. To cavort is then moving your body, plain and simple. Commune stands for socializing with other people, whether that's friends, family, or even strangers, just coming into contact with others. And then consume stands for the relaxation of taking in media other people made, like books, music, TV, media in general, yeah. Now, I've been thinking a ton about those 4 verbs and how they fit into my life, and I've honestly just become kind of obsessed with it. It's really become a mantra, something to think on and really see if it fits into my life in a way. And that's why I also just wanted to make a print out of it. So I started drawing out letters in kind of a style that I thought I would like, and then experimenting a bit to see which way I would actually go. I ended up mixing up a few different styles and taking inspiration from different fonts that I found online. But I ended up being really happy just playing around with it and having some fun. And I did end up really liking what I came up with rather quickly, which doesn't always happen. At this point, I started copying the letters that I did have to really work on how the design would be layout-wise, copying word by word and spacing them out correctly. I'd actually, in a rush, decided to listen to the book Fame Sick by Linocutting. I had seen that my audiobook hours on Spotify were going to run out in like a day, and I hate wasting them, so I decided to rush a bit and still pick a book and listen to it in speed mode to just get my full hours out of it, which sounds a bit silly, but honestly, it's included. And I do often have the issue that the hours they provide are not enough to actually finish a book, so it would feel silly to not use it and then to not have enough hours for the next read. So yeah, I did actually finish reading it while working on this project. When it came to transferring the print onto the lino, I wasn't actually completely sure how to do it, but I ended up finding a way to make it work. Honestly, I wasn't too bothered with copying it exactly, because I was pretty sure I could just fill in what hadn't transferred properly myself anyway. So yesterday after work, I started drawing the print that I've wanted to make for quite a while. It is based on something that's pretty popular nowadays, the 4Cs for creative work, I think it's called, or something like that at least. And that's create, consume, cavort, commune. I had an idea of wanting to make a print out of this for quite a while now, and I had postponed it because I thought I would struggle with finding the font that I wanted to use, and yeah, I just felt like doing it yesterday. I got started with it, as you saw, and it actually went really quickly. I quite quickly found the type of letter that I wanted. I tried to mix like a serif with something a bit more creative, a bit more like Art Deco style, I guess, and then mixing like a harder serif with a softer, swirlier kind of letter. And yeah, I actually really enjoyed doing this. Looking at it now, even, I'm actually really content with it, which doesn't often happen. Like, sometimes I love it when I'm making it, I usually don't like it afterwards, and often when I'm making it and I don't like it, I do like it later. So it's fun to have made something and still like it later as well. So what I did is, as you saw, copied it onto this lino. Is it lino? I don't actually even know. It's not like actual lino, it's like a softer pressing block. I found it in a local art store here. Haven't worked with it before, so I'm very curious to see how it will go. But yeah, I was gonna transfer it by drawing over all of the letters when it was facing down, so it would copy. And then I realized, because I had used quite a high graphite pencil, that I might just be able to rub it with a spoon to transfer it. It actually worked. I was so happy that that worked. So yeah, I transferred it, and then I copied, well, I went over it again in a pen, and this is where I did make a mistake. I just used like, yeah, Stettler pigment liners, and then I only read afterwards that people advise using waterproof pens or something to use on something like this, because it does actually smudge. So yeah, I was waiting for it to dry, but it did actually smudge anyway in some places. So what I did now, just as an experiment, is I sprayed some hairspray on there to see if that would fix it, because I know that works with like chalky substances, and it did kind of work. So it's a lot better than it was already. So I'm gonna get to cutting this out and then seeing if I can print it. I'm actually so excited. I'm also a bit apprehensive, just because I've tried similar things in the past, but I've always tried them in a more rushed manner. I've never actually really spent the time to refine a print like this. So what I'm hoping is, if I do take my time and I'm very careful with how I do it, the print will turn out well. If it doesn't, I'm just gonna try again. I might see if I want it bigger than this, because right now, yeah, like on the page like this, it fits nicely on an A4 and smaller, because I folded down the edges. And I do think I want a print of about an A4 size, so, or just like with like 5 centimeters off on each end, I don't know yet. But yeah, I do like the way that it looks on just a normal A4 paper. But I was also considering, because I have the design now, that it would be really cool to actually print it on a t-shirt, or even a tote bag or something, or even like make a wall art thing on textile. I think that would be really cool, just combining my different hobbies. But yeah, I'm not entirely sure yet, but I just wanted to give it a shot. The one thing that I'm also going to be looking out for, but that was on actual lino, I used to not make my cuts deep enough so that it wouldn't really print well. But we'll see how it goes with this material. I'm not entirely... It should be easier, just because it's less hard, it's really soft. So it shouldn't be much of a strain on my wrists either. But yeah, I'm really excited. I'm kind of again apprehensive at this point because everything's been going really well so far. I want it to keep going well, but I'm guessing I'll be a bit frustrated on some bits just because now I'm looking at it, there are quite a few really thin bits and spaces where there's not a lot of space between the letters, but I'm just gonna do my best. I'm gonna continue listening to my audiobook and just enjoy the process, and also try to like think about what I'm making here in the sense of the 4Cs. I've been reflecting on it, what activities I do like that correspond to each of these words, and I think I'll talk about it a bit more in a voiceover once I've actually like thought it through. But yeah, let's get started. I think I'm going to work top to bottom, right corner up, so even if it does smudge, it won't be the worst. So yeah, let's get started.
Things that you've tried and how many of them have to fail. Who gets to decide in the end? And so, while I was lying in a hospital bed, being pumped full of what was essentially medical grade heroin to handle the pain, I wrote a 1,000-word essay on why, given the
camera is incredibly crooked, but I don't have the energy to put it straight. My tripod's pretty broken right now, but I wanted to update you on where I got with my lino cut. Honestly, it's not turning out the way that I wanted, just because when I started cutting with my old knives, I made quite a few mistakes just because they're very blunt and some of the tips are even broken. They're not the best quality. So after doing like half of it, I decided to stop and make a smarter choice and actually get new knives. So I got 3 of these. I think it's an Italian brand. I just got them at the local store, and the reason that I didn't get a set is just because I could have gotten one, but then I would have ended up using only 3 of the 6 knives in there, and I didn't really want to do that. So I just decided to choose my 3 favorite shapes, which is like a thinner U shape, a broader U shape, and then a V, a really thin V shape. And I figured if I do need any others, I'll be able to go buy them, but honestly, it's been working fine with these. So then, because I knew this was just going to be a tester, I did continue carving out the rest just to get used to these knives, and I again made a few mistakes just figuring out how easily it cut now. And yeah, so there are a few bits that I can see that will not print well because I accidentally cut out a bit that I didn't want to, but I figured I might as well finish it so I can do a test print and then I can learn whether I like how it's looking, because right now I can start again on a new one, but I won't have any feedback on how it actually prints. So now I know there will be a few mistakes in there, but at least I can see like what works and what doesn't, and if there's anything I still can change. So I'm gonna get started on that. I do have a very old roller here. It's pretty gnarly. I think I used this for something completely different in the renovation, something with normal paint, I think, and it's just not in the best condition, but I think it will do the trick. And I have some water-soluble block printing paint. Yeah, I think I have used this before. I'm not entirely sure now. And I am now seeing that it does say that you can use it on fabric as well, it seems. Yeah, when I was in the art store, I was looking specifically for fabric block printing paint, because I think I do want to print it on fabric as well, but I figured I might as well just give it a shot, make a print first on paper, and then I can still decide whether I want to get the fabric specific ink, but we'll see. I am gonna get started on this with my limited knowledge on how to do this. I think it'll work out fine. I'm just gonna test print it in my sketchbook, and then we can judge the first product and then retrace it onto a new piece with the adjustments and be a bit more careful with the cutting this time, so I don't accidentally cut out something that I don't want to. We'll see. Okay, I'm holding the camera. I just have all of my prints lying out here on the kitchen island. I just wanted to show the process. This is the first one where I slipped the lino and accidentally made it much thicker than it was, and it had too much ink on it. The second one was better, and then the third and the fourth. The fourth didn't have enough ink, I think. Then I attempted to print on some pattern paper, actually. Yeah, and then on fabric as well. I actually love how it turned out. On this cotton, I think I do need more or different ink, because I did actually load it up and still it didn't come through as well as I would have liked it to. But yeah, these are just testers. And then this is the one that I did on like a bit more sturdier paper. You can see the difference in colour as well. This is just white and my sketchbook is a more cream colour. Personally, I like the cream a bit more, especially just in combination with the black. Maybe if I print in a different colour it would be better, but yeah. So let's see which one I can use to learn the most from. I don't think the first one's going to be a good reference, but maybe one of these, maybe just this one. The things that I think that I still should change. So yeah, you clearly have like the leftovers from like bits and pieces here that I still need to carve out. Oh, and apparently it's not dry yet. But yeah, so these little bits everywhere I need to cut out a bit more clearly. I think in general the lettuce can be a bit more refined. It's hard for me to determine if the sharpness is because of how I was printing or because of how I cut it, because for instance, if you look here, that M is just a ton more sharp than this one. So yeah, I think it'll just be a bit more experimenting, but it is something to watch while I carve the new block. Again, with the V as well, the lines aren't particularly smooth. You can see in this M where I cut it wrong, like it was very wonky, even though I don't necessarily mind that. And in this C, I accidentally cut out a piece that I shouldn't have. I can actually fix that with just a paintbrush, but I'd prefer not to have to do that. Other than that, I actually do really like the results. The only thing that I was doubting is I like how I did the U here. I do think it needs a bit more space between the S and the U, and a bit less space maybe between the U and the M. But I don't know if I like the same font here for the U. It was just to manage the S that I'd drawn like that. I also don't mind. I'm not entirely sure yet. I do think it looks a bit like a J in some places, you know? So maybe I need to draw another U. I don't know yet. But I do like it. I do like the results. I'm actually really happy with how this came out on the fabric. So yeah, time for a second version now. Fixing a few mistakes, being a bit more careful, and then learning and printing some more.
It has, oh, genie in a bottle, what a girl wants.
So as I had mentioned before, I have been thinking a ton about the 4 C's. Create, cavort, commune, consume. What they meant for me. What I want them to mean for me, I think. Yeah. And yeah, I thought I'd share some thoughts about that. Honestly, the create aspect of it has always come quite easy to me. I've always wanted to keep my hands busy with knitting, sewing, drawing, baking even, and it always feels like this uses some kind of innate creativity in me. The thing that I've struggled the most with is realizing that was being creative, and making this channel has honestly helped a ton with it, to realize and take time to see what I'm doing and to enjoy it more, because I do make a lot, but I wasn't experiencing it, I think, in the way that I wanted to. So filming has actually helped a lot with that, and it's, I guess, a kind of creativity in itself that I've been enjoying. I think cavorting is a bit more difficult for me to define, because of course it's just moving your body, but again, I think the moving of your body in a way that brings you a kind of peace or satisfaction. And I do think that when I run, I definitely have that effect. The same when I'm gardening, I think that counts as well. I've been gardening a ton and I've been loving it, just the physicality of the movement and how it just calms your brain in a way. Commune, on the other hand, I am very, very lucky with a lovely group of friends who are all very creative as well, and I feel very supported in discussing things with them and brainstorming with them. I do want to commune a bit more maybe in the future, but in general I feel very lucky with the group of people I have around me. Also just my husband during this week, and I think you might hear him sometimes in the background, he's been sitting at the table with me, painting minis and being creative himself. So it's just lovely to have that kind of support system to share things with. The consume part is where it gets a bit difficult, I think, for me. Not because I don't do it, but because I think I do it too much sometimes. And I think that's something that a lot of people might be able to relate to. It's so easy to consume so much these days that sometimes I feel like I need to repeat the cycle of the 4 C's a bit sooner and stop consuming and start creating with what I've consumed. So that's definitely something I want to work on in the future. Okay, final check-in time. I printed the second print. The first one's still over there. But yeah, I just wanted to quickly show the results. I'm actually really happy with how it turned out, except for the fact that I think I need to fix my ink roller situation, maybe try a different ink. But yeah, so I tried some on the thicker paper again. And as you can see, they are a lot cleaner than the first ones. This one's a bit more messy. I didn't press it down properly. That one is on the more cream paper, which I do actually really like. I tried these two on fabric as well, and again I had the same issue where it just wasn't like picking up as much ink as I would like. I actually printed one right next to the previous one as well. You can see the same issue here on the M. That's weird. Anyway, so yeah, this was the old one, which I still really love, to be honest, and this is the new. It just looks a bit more crispy, like cleaned up a bit. I do like it. I am happy with the U, I think, in the more readable version, but I honestly can't say that I have a preference. I feel like this one looks a bit more crafty and that one just looks a bit more cleaned up, but I'm not entirely sure. These were my first ones that I tried in my sketchbook just to get going. And yeah, as you can see, it's just sometimes I had a bit too much ink, which made it a bit too thick, I feel like, or like that it kept sliding. But I do think I prefer the fabric results. So I think I'll probably be cutting one of those out and putting it in a frame to hang up. But yeah, I'll come back with some final thoughts later. I wanted to come back and discuss my final thoughts with you. I framed the print I made on fabric in this wooden frame that I got from the secondhand store. Actually really happy with it. It just looks exactly how I wanted it to look. It isn't the best print. I didn't actually choose the best print, but I like the fact that it didn't work out exactly the way that I wanted. I like that you can see the selvage edge of fabric still in there. It's just the vibe that I wanted, so I'm very happy with the result of this. I think I am going to keep tinkering with this block just to see if I can further adjust things and learn from trying a bit more. It has been years since I've actually properly done a lino cut. I think actually, yeah, I tried to do one last year, I think around Christmas, and I did enjoy doing it. It just didn't turn out how I wanted it, and I didn't end up making a lot of prints from the cut that I made then. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I think it was definitely worth giving it a try. I'm actually really content with like how my font turned out, and I think I am in the future going to try and print this on a t-shirt or a bag, and in the meantime I'm just going to hang this somewhere as a reminder to create, consume, cavort and commune. And yeah, I really want to keep this mindset of just trying new things in a different way and thinking about my creative practice in a different way, because I feel like it really helps. I guess I don't want to say push me because I think that sounds a bit negative, but I feel like it inspires me. That's a better word. It inspires me to find news, to be creative, and just, yeah, really helps me relax into the creative person that I want to be, which for me is a very important point, to be able to relax into it and to truly enjoy creating in a certain way. But yeah, I am absolutely chuffed with the result, very happy, and yeah, thank you so much for joining me. I probably will be knitting in my next video. I think I might do a project vlog, but like following a week of being creative, because I did start working on my Winnie sweater, which I've been wanting to make for ages already, and I finally got the yarn and got started on it. So I might follow along with the process of that, but also doing other creative things, because it is a Monday and I thought it would be fun to follow a whole week of being creative. But yeah, thank you so much for joining me. I hope to see you in my next video, so if you want to, you can definitely subscribe and like this video, which really helps. And yeah, see you soon.